I recently received a question about a recent video that I did, how to turn NotebookLM into an interactive website. And the question is whether or not we can take our creation and move it to Google Sites. That is the inspiration for this video, how to turn NotebookLM into a client proposal. What we're going to do in order to get started is we're going to write a fictional transcript of a discovery call between a marketing consultant and a business owner. And this is what you would have with your client. You would have a discovery call of some kind, and you would determine what their pain points are and how they fit into your business philosophy. So we're going to start the process by copying this fictional transcript of a discovery call. And we're going to enter into Gemini, and we're going to ask Gemini to generate the transcript. Okay, once we have generated the transcript, you may want to change the name to fit your circumstances. So we're going to do that. We're then going to click enter. So we now have our fictional transcript. We're going to export the transcript to docs. Once we have the transcript, we will then open it and we will save this as the discovery call transcript. We're going to make this title easily identifiable. We are then going to head to our NotebookLM notebook. We then want to go to the notebook where we have our business philosophy. We want to add in a source. In this case, we're going to add that source from our Google Drive. We're going to add in discovery call transcript. And we now have our transcript. We're going to clear out the chat history. We're then going to initiate a second prompt. That's important to note at this point that it's a good practice to begin looking to Gemini to generate your prompts. Once you decide on what the goal is, Gemini can assist you in drafting the prompts for the various applications you're going to be using. We're going to copy this prompt and we're going to head to NotebookLM. We're going to configure our chat. Once we have our chat configured, we can then paste in our prompt. We can then click enter. So what we have now done is we have taken the client transcript and we've run it against our 52-week philosophy. We've asked the AI to outline a customized 12-month implementation roadmap and then to pull specific strategies from the 52-week framework. What we are now going to do with this document, once we have read it, is we're going to save it as a note. We're going to assume that you have read through the entire document. Once we have the document, we're going to export the document to a Google Doc. We now have the roadmap for our proposal. We're going to execute the next portion in 2 phases. We're going to go to Gemini and we're going to ask Gemini to format our document into an executive summary. We're then going to turn that executive summary using Canvas into an HTML template. So we're going to start with the first prompt. We're going to stay in this conversation. We're going to add in the document with our roadmap. We are then going to paste in the first prompt. We're not going to use any of the tools. We're going to click submit. So now that we have our formatted executive summary, we're now going to do phase 2. We're going to open up the tools and open up Canvas. We're now going to get the second prompt. And once again, it's important to underscore that these are prompts that you can generate yourself using Gemini if you understand the goal and what you are trying to accomplish. We will copy the prompt and head to Gemini so that we can open up the canvas. Now that we've opened up the canvas, what we're going to do is we're going to paste in our prompt for the design. We will now click submit. And what we expect Gemini to do is to open up the canvas and to produce for us a visual using HTML inside of the canvas. And Gemini begins to open up the canvas. We will now visit sites.google.com and we will go to Google Sites. We will now click on a blank site. We are going to start with the Insert tab. We are then going to start with the Embed area. We're then going to look for embed code. We're now going to copy our HTML code from our canvas. So we will now copy the code from the canvas, and we will head back to our Google site. We will now paste in our HTML code. We will now click Next. We will now insert the template. We can now adjust the proposal widget. We can now title our site. We can now publish our site. In this case, we may ask the search engines not to display the site. We have a web address. We can now publish the web address. We can decide on who can see the site. Now, we could make it so that specific individuals can see the site. However, for the sake of this video, we're going to make this URL public. We're now going to click Done. We will then click Publish. We can now click on View Published Site. And our site is now on the web and ready for our client to see it. So what we have done is we have put together an interactive proposal and made it available on the web. We've used Google Sites for this process, and we could have purchased a specific domain name for this specific proposal. Now, we could have initiated an app for this process, and we will undertake that in part 2 of this series, How to Turn NotebookLM into a Client Proposal. There is a strength and weakness to this method. The strength to the method is that our proprietary methods remain walled within our NotebookLM notebook. The weakness is that only 2 of our documents are dynamic. And so we can only sync our discovery call transcript with Google Drive. However, it's likely that we would only be doing one discovery call transcript with one individual one time. And once we complete this discovery call and we are no longer working with a client, we can remove the source until we have another discovery call transcript that we want to upload to our notebook to undertake the process a second time. Part of the benefit of creating an app using either the Super Gems in Opal or the Gems by Google is that we make it easier to automate the process a second and third time along with our NotebookLM notebook, and also to make the process dynamic in case we change something in our formula. We will explore this fact in the rest of the series. Okay, so thanks, and I will see you in another video.